Hi, I'm Dan from the Catamaran for the Common Man. I'm pursuing this project because there's a bunch of things that I want in my life that I'm not getting, and I think this is a way to get them. First, I want to live a lower impact environmental lifestyle that isn't killing the planet. Secondly, I want to have freedom from a system of rent and real estate, which only seems to work now for a small and smaller number of people, a group that I don't find myself in. I want a way of living that puts me closer to nature, and I want to have circumstances under which the kind of remote work that I love to do is easily accommodated, which includes mobility. I don't have to live in the same place all the time. And the form that takes is this, the Catamaran for the Common Man, a vessel that we build ourselves to suit the life we want. You've been watching a process on the video in the foreground here that transforms one hull into one of two hulls. That's a process we have to go through twice, obviously, to create the two hulls of a catamaran for the common man. What's not shown here is the cabin section that will join the two and the structure that holds it up and attaches to the two hulls. And that's part of videos to come. But what we're looking at, first of all, is starting from a small starting point that we can extend out. And that starting point is a boat called the Catalina 22. It's a small boat, 22 feet long, easy to find, about $4,000 each, and it provides us with all the hard parts of making this project work. All the hard parts, maybe that's not quite true. What we have to do to make it work for us, though, and take care of some of the hard parts, is to cut the hull across its beam at a precise location that means we have a constant section, like a limousine would be extended, that we can support and then build extensions into the middle of it, as you see we're ready to do here. We're going to next make a mold here that allows us to create the same shape as that constant section of the hull in a kind of a long extended form, as long as we need it to be, but in this case about 15 feet long. Once we've done that, we can start to mold fiberglass sections that we'll then remove, and we can use the same mold for both hulls and both halves of each hull. The fiberglass sections we just made are going to need bonding together, and once they've been bonded together, they'll need further strengthening with a system called floors, which you just saw drop into place here. These are the things that are going to support the sole, which is what we would normally call the floor of the hull. As you can already see, this project is based around a set of simple, easy to execute stages that don't involve complicated tools or tooling or materials, and that somebody who hasn't built a boat before should be able to master with all the guides we're going to build as part of this project. Once we've got to this stage, we've now created a series of modular components, and it allows us to work on parts of the boat without having to work on the whole boat all at the same time. In what you can see here, there are now 4 separate sections: the very bottom of the boat in the middle, the stem, which is the front, the stern, which is the back, and the middle cabin section, which can all separate out and store the others away while we work on just one of them. So in this case, we can do without the stem and the stern if we only want to focus on fitting out the cabin and the area of the hull below the cabin in the bilge. In fact, we don't even need to start with the hulls to begin this project. If we didn't have a hull, we would still be able to build the cabin section that you can see in the background and focus on that. By creating the simple flat panels that are on all 5 sides that you're looking at, we can easily create the form of the cabin that will eventually become a part of the boat before we actually obtain the hulls and do the modifications you've seen. If you did do things in this order, no problem, and once you have those 2 halves of the hull, you can introduce them, start extending them, the bulkheads become the reference, and the work can continue in whatever order suits your process the best. The idea behind the project is you can work on each part separately, storing the others when you don't need to, even in broken down form. When you do bond the hull together in its final form, it still is designed to fit inside of a 40-foot container. So if you want to put it away for a year while the other hull or the cabin between the hulls is worked on, no problem. And you'll be able to ship the boat anywhere in the world in that same container. Starting from an easy to source, inexpensive hull that works well, like the Catalina 22, gives us a starting point that everyone can share. If we can build a community of multiple people who want to build this kind of boat and this kind of lifestyle, they'll have the advantage of an easy to share starting point without having to invent everything from scratch. That means that almost everything in the boat that you've seen so far, the supports to hold it up, the shapes of the bulkheads, the forms of the floors, any strengthening, the various pieces that go into it, could all be templated and provided as CNC files, which means that even without tools, you'll be able to order those parts pre-cut, delivered to where you work or where you want to build the boat, and without having to do anything else, start to fit them together like a kit. There will be lots and lots of extra detail work to do, but these large pieces will come together quickly, even down to the furniture inside the boat, which will be part of what the project develops. There's much, much more I could tell you about the boat, and I will be telling you more about the project in the videos to come. This is a quick introduction that I hope gives you a taste of what we're trying to do. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, hit that bell, isn't that what you say? And do all the other good things so that we can get a community around this project.